Giving it a minute for some people to get here. Didn't realize I was going to start a big fight on the internet with all the wholesalers who have fancy contracts, fancy assignment contracts. Let me see if I can pull one up. See if I can Google assignment contract that doesn't disclose contract price. Let's see if there's one out there in the wide world of fortune builders and assignment contract made easy. All right, so let me show you. This is pretty much. Honestly didn't know this was a thing, so let's just put this all the way up here. I want people to understand. I don't give a fuck what a wholesaler makes. I don't buy from wholesalers. I learned a long time ago it's way better for us if we buy direct from seller. So we just don't fuck with wholesalers. So this is pretty straightforward. Wasn't a real estate assignment contract. Real estate assignment contract is a wholesale strategy that, and this is fortune builders, guys. This isn't some fly-by-night bullshit. Okay. Contract prohibitions. Make sure the contract you have with the property seller does not have prohibitions for future assignments. This can create serious issues down the road. Make sure the contract is drafted by a lawyer that specializes in real estate assignment contract law. Property-specific prohibitions, HUD homes, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So basically make sure that the contract you're going to assign is assignable. Certain ones are not assignable. What is an assignment fee in real estate? An assignment fee in real estate is the money a wholesaler can expect to receive from an end buyer when they sell them their rights to buy the subject property. Sell them the rights to buy the subject property, not sell them a property. In other words, the assignment fee serves as a monetary compensation awarded to the wholesaler for connecting the original seller with the end buyer. Again, any contract used to disclose wholesale deals should be completely transparent and include the assignment fee. So, and including the assignment fee is no exception. The terms of how an investor will be paid upon assigning the contract should nonetheless be spelled out in the contract itself. The standard assignment fee is $5,000. However, every deal is different. Buyers differ on their needs and criteria for spending their money. As with negotiation, proper information is vital. Take the time to find out how much a property would realistically cost before and after repairs, then add your preferred assignment fee on top of it. Traditionally, investors will receive a deposit when they sign an assignment of real estate purchase and sale agreement. The rest of the assignment fee will be paid out upon closing. Assignment contract versus double close. It's all the same. Guys, flipping real estate contracts. The unfamiliar concept of real estate contract assignment may be known as something else. Flipping real estate contracts. If for nothing else, the two are in one term the same. Flipping a real estate contract is simply another way to refer to assigning a contract. So it goes into it. All breaks it down. This is on Fortune Builder's website. Okay. This is not fly by night bullshit, fucking handful of years like me in the business guru shit. This is people that, I don't know. They're very big. They're very expensive. If you want to pay them. So this is pretty simple. This is Investopia. Again, what is real estate wholesaling? Real estate wholesaling is a short-term business strategy to investors to use to make big profits. Contrary to what you may think, real estate wholesaling has nothing to do with real estate retail wholesaling, and retail wholesaling doesn't involve the sale of multiple properties at lower prices. In fact, it's a different kettle of fish. Example of real estate wholesaling. Real estate wholesaling sounds complicated, but it's very simple. Say a homeowner has a property he never thought he could sell because it's fairly distressed. The homeowner may not have enough resources to fix up himself. Enter the wholesaler who approached the homeowner with an offer. Together, they agree to put the house under contract for $90,000. Using his network of investors, he finds an eager buyer at $100,000. He assigns this contract to his investor, who then has a profitable fixer-upper project. The wholesaler makes $10,000 profit without ever owning home. From this example, we see that there's never actually an offer to purchase from the wholesaler. He agreed to contract the house out from the homeowner, an interested party. Under the contract, the buyer pays $100,000 to the wholesaler, who pays $90,000, keep the rest for himself as profit. I don't know if this is, great information from Investopia, but this is what a lot of people read online whenever they're researching this at the beginning. I never read any of this stuff. I didn't learn this from reading on the internet. I learned this from people that do it. One of the biggest people that I've learned from was a national franchise trainer for home investors. Two of my best mentors and our largest private money lender is a home investors franchisee and owner. They do not ever recommend hiding the assignment from an investor with some bullshit assignment contract. They do recommend double closing if you do not want to, if you want to hide your assignment, you can double close, but that is it. So what is an assignment of contract? This has nothing to do with real estate here, but it's pretty simple. Assignment of contracts happen in every type of business, okay? So an assignment of contract occurs when one party to an existing contract, the assigner hands the contract's obligations and benefits to another party, the assignee. Ideally, the assigner wants the assignee to step in his shoes and assume all of his contractual obligations and rights, okay? How can a person do that if they cannot see the full contract, okay? How an assignment works. How an assignment plays out depends on many factors, especially the languages of the contract. Some contracts may contain a clause prohibiting assignment. Others may require the other party to the consent of the assignment. I personally have dealt with, if you do not put and or assigns on the top of the contract, you may have to get your seller's permission to assign it because it did not have the language in there that it could be assigned, okay? So that's why people always teach put and or assigns after your name on the purchase contract. Here's an example of a basic assignment contract. Tom contracts a dairy to deliver a bottle and a half to Tom's house every day. The dairy assigns Tom contract to another dairy, and provided Tom is notified to change and continue to get his daily half and half, his contract is now with a new dairy. An assignment does not always relieve the assigner of liability. Some contracts may include a guarantee that regardless of assignment, the original parties guarantees performance. Okay. When will assignments not be enforced? An assignment of contract will not be enforced in the following situation. The contract prohibits assignment. The assignment materially alters what is expected under the contract. If the assignment affects the performance due under the contract, decreases the value or return anticipated, or increases the risk for the other party to the contract, the party who is not assigning contractual rights, courts are unlikely to enforce the arrangement. For existence, if Tom's local organic dairy has assigned the contract to a factory farm dairy, this would be considered a material alteration. This was discussed by Danicito in the other wholesaling group about what a material alteration is. You're talking about taking something before court, okay? This is worst case scenario stuff. If the shit hits the fan and you have to go before the court, would not knowing the price on the contract be a material alteration in front of the judge? That's for him to decide. That's why disclosing the price is probably the best bet. Delegation or assignment. In some cases, a party may not wish to assign the contract, but only to get somebody else to fulfill its duties. Obviously, not all duties can be delegated. For example, this is just more contract jargon. This is pretty straightforward and simple. My argument has been the same with all of this, okay? It's been pretty straightforward. You're going to do this to hide your assignment, okay? Your assignment's going to be on the HUD, regardless of the language of your assignment contract. It's going to show up on the HUD. You're not really hiding anything. If you truly want to hide your assignment, R2R at Jet Lending and get you some transactional funding, and you will hide it. It will still show up on the HUD. So you're going through all this extra exercise to not accomplish anything. You're still going to have to show. It's still going to come out. It's still going to show up. It's still going to be on the HUD. Okay. So let's go read Texas law, brokering real estate without a license. This is right out of Texas property code. It's pretty fucking, It's pretty damning. When you read it, it's really easy to fall under these categories. Oh, my bad. This is, this is it. This is where it spells out the penalty. You could be fined for, it's a Class A misdemeanor, could be fined up to $4,000. This is in Texas, or a year in jail. Plus, TREC can put administrative fees of $5,000 per violation onto you. I don't know how far back they can go. I don't know. But broker means any person who, in exchange for a commission or other valuable consideration, or with the expectation of receiving a commission or other valuable consideration, performs for another person one of the following acts: sells, exchange, purchases, or lease real property, offers to sell, exchange, purchase, or lease real estate, negotiates or attempts to negotiate the listing, sell, exchange, purchase of real estate, auction or list, auctions or offers, attempts, or agrees to auction real estate, deals and options in real estate, including a lease, purchase, selling, so on and so forth. Okay. You can read this. It's right here. This is in Texas Property Code. It's pretty straightforward. Let's get down to the exceptions to the rule. Okay. We kind of get what's happening. Here it is. Real estate brokerage. A person who is engaged in real estate brokerage, if the person, with the exception of receiving valuable consideration directly or indirectly, performs or offers to, attempts, or agrees to perform for another person, may act, describe the section above that we just read, all those different things, as a part of a transaction or as an entire transaction. A person is not engaged in real estate brokerage, regardless of whether the person is licensed under this chapter, based solely on engaging in the following activities: constructing, remodeling, or repairing a home or building, sponsoring, promoting, or managing, or otherwise participating as a principal, partner, or financial manager of an investment in real estate. So if you own it, okay, or entering into an obligation to pay another person that is secured by an interest in real property. So if you go to buy real estate, you're not brokering real estate. Okay. Now it's going to define equitable interest in a real property. A person may acquire an option or interest in a real estate contract to purchase real property, and then sell or offer to sell the option, or assign or offer to assign the contract, without holding a license issued under this contract, under this chapter, if a person does not use the option or contract to purchase, to engage in real estate brokering, and discloses the nature of the equitable interest to any potential buyer. Listen to me. You don't have to, quote unquote, disclose your assignment. What does this line say? Discloses the nature of the equitable interest to any potential buyer. I have a contract to purchase the property. This is not very I don't know. It doesn't, it's kind of broad whenever it says that. What is the nature of an equitable interest? I have a contract to purchase this. How much is your contract for? I'm not going to disclose it to you. Did you disclose the nature of the equitable interest to a potential buyer? That is for a court to figure out. That is for a lawyer to interpret. Okay. But I will promise you, any lawyer worth a grain of salt is going to tell you the more you disclose, the better off you are. Okay. A person you're selling to offer an option, or assigning to offer and assign an interest in a contract to purchase real property without disclosing the nature of that interest to a potential buyer is engaging in real estate brokerage. Okay. This little section right here. Okay. Everybody that's out there right now that's arguing about it, that's saying, oh, people are anti-wholesaling. I'm not anti-wholesaling. I don't give a fuck what you do in your personal business. Go do whatever you want to do in your personal business. Do lease options with balloons. Do fucking contract for deed with balloons. Do whatever you want to do in your personal real estate business. Do it to the fullest ability of your extent. There's no fucking real estate police out there. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But here's where you're fucking up. When you go out and you tell everybody under the sun that they can do this and they don't have to worry about any legal repercussions, you better damn well know that. You better understand it front and back, and have litigated it, have survived the litigation from it. Know everything about it, how expensive it is, whether it's worth it or not worth it. Because I'm going to tell you, right now you're trying to get a bigger assignment fee. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't care. There's a method for that. You double close, you kind of get around a lot of this bullshit. But if you're just hiding your assignment fee and writing up a fancy jargon and your attorney signed off on it and everything else, have they litigated that contract? Have they litigated it? If they haven't, like if you get if you're worried about a buyer being salty already, and now you've got this hanging over your head, okay? And that buyer gets salty when he sees your assignment on the HUD, and he's like, oh, I don't want this motherfucker to make that money. And you just gave him all this ammunition to not drag you into just a civil case, but a criminal case, a Class A misdemeanor in Texas. Because did you disclose the nature of your equitable interest? Okay? The nature, the price that you're paying for the property, the nature of your equitable interest. I don't know. I'm not an attorney, but I can tell you what everybody's saying right now and all of this, that they're trying to make it out to be, oh, well, Corey's just negative Nancy. He just hates fucking wholesalers. I don't. What I don't want to see you do is, I don't want to see you do what I did in 2017, which is go out and talk a lot about subject 2, which was something that I was doing at the time. I knew what I was doing at the time, but I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. Okay? There's tons of screenshots out there of me bragging about subject 2 that now whenever I see them, I cringe. I'm like, oh my God, why would I ever say that? Why would I ever give that advice to somebody out there who's brand new, who thinks that's the holy fucking gospel? Y'all that got people watching you right now, and you put out there this great, hey, I don't have to worry about this. Have you litigated it? Do you actually know what it is and what it isn't? Have you read into it? Have you sat down with your attorney and sat across from him and says, hey, what happens whenever this happens? And if you have, why not put your assignment contract on the internet right now and debate it at merit? Like, hey, this is what my attorney said about this, this, and this. Here's the different cases. Here's the case law. You can go look it up where he's won in court using this exact assignment contract. I do believe wholeheartedly, and I'll stand behind it in 50 states and everywhere else on the planet Earth, that this is the correct method for doing this strategy. Versus, I don't do that in my personal business, so I don't think y'all have to do it in your personal business either, okay? I would advise you can do whatever you want in your personal business. Have whatever, however you feel about it, whatever you want to do there, you can do it in your personal business. When you start giving that out and saying, hey, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, is that what the law says? Is that how the law is interpreted by, a conglomerate of attorneys? Is that what, has been tested in court? Is there litigation to back it up? Do you know anybody that has faced prosecution for it? And then once they looked at this specific assignment that you use, they decided not to pursue prosecution. Do you know all that? Is it real? Can you back it up? So I don't know, but if I'm new and I'm in this business and I have all this different conflicting information that I just read to you online, okay, and then I go into all the different places and I look at it, the risk doesn't seem worth the reward to me. If you're going to do real estate, disclose. When you disclose it, now it's out in the open. Now any future BS could be skirted, okay? You're not going to avoid it wholeheartedly. You're just not. I mean, there's risk in this business, okay? I'm not out here telling you not to do it or do it. I'm just saying that when people want to do that, it's like, why? They're going to see the assignment on the HUD. You're not going to hide that without double closing. So what's your ultimate goal? Okay? Because your ultimate goal should be to avoid litigation. It should be to do it, not close deals at all cost. If closing deals at all cost is your only goal, you're going to end up falling short. Now, if you're doing it in your personal business and you feel comfortable doing it, keep doing it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But to go out and tell everybody it's going to be all right, when you don't know if it's going to be all right, and you can't stand on that, like stand on it like a fucking rock and say, oh man, I've been there. Like I'm forged by the iron. Them motherfuckers came after me. I kicked their ass 3 times and 2 times on Sunday. Then I wouldn't suggest that you go out with such a broad statement and tell everybody, because what's going to end up happening is They're going to go out and take action on that. They're going to use that. Okay. And whenever they get their nuts in a sling, when they get whatever happens or they don't do it, they might not even do it the way you told them to, but they believe they did it the way that you told them to. And now they're out there saying, well, I use so-and-so's bulletproof, no disclosure assignment contract. And now I've got my ass sued. I don't have money for litigation. I've got the seller and the buyer suing me. I'm in a bind. What should I do? You got to step out of the middle of that contract. You didn't accomplish anything. If you learn how to overcome that objection on the front side, you got a buyer that wants to buy and they don't want to pay your assignment. They're like, you're making too much on the assignment. Be like, hey, I've got 4 other buyers that wanted it this price, are okay with this price. I like you the best. That's why I'm giving you first shot at it. If you don't want it, I understand, but I've got to feed my family. My cost per acquisition currently is way higher than it should be, and I don't know when the next contract I'm going to get is. Things are hard because of Corona. Do you want it at this price or do you not want it at this price? I've got to go with somebody that I know can close. Or don't even worry about it at all. Write up a fresh contract, double close on it, use transactional funding, sacrifice a little bit of points, a little bit of closing costs, keep the deal intact, and avoid all this nonsense. You don't want to be in a situation where you get to the closing table and the salty ass buyer that you're worried about seeing it on the HUD, and now they don't want to close anyways. And instead of not wanting to close, they now not only don't want to close, but they want to sue. They're trying to get the seller involved. The title company's now drug into the middle of it, and it blows up in your face. I could talk about 40 other things. We're going to be live in 2 hours with Steve Trang on this channel. I'm going to go into it a lot further. I'm going to chop it up with him. I want to know his opinion on this, but there's also other scenarios that we're running into with title companies right now personally when it comes to things like writing a cash contract. So we write all contracts cash. We close on them with hard money. Title companies are getting pissed about that. So they're making us amend our contracts with our sellers. We're having to go back to our sellers after we write a cash contract and then get them to sign an amendment that says, hey, we're going to use third-party financing and have to sign a third-party financing addendum. We're having to do that. Running into issues where when we're signing a contract, the title company will not issue title insurance on the assignment fee. Okay. Tons of things where we've seen sellers see the title commitment and it have the assignment fee on there, and it go the other way where sellers come back and be like, hey, what's going on here? There's all sorts of different things that you could run into that you need to learn how to overcome those objections anyways. If your buyers are your biggest problem, you need to learn how to source your own capital, close your own deals, list them. That's the largest pool of buyers out there. You need to learn that strategy and quit trying to skirt a system that's going to end up with you in between a rock and a hard place. And I don't know why you'd want to be there anyways. It's to me, it's a fruitless effort. They're going to see the assignment on the HUD anyway. So anyways, I'm going to get off of here. Steve will be out here. We'll be chopping it up. I'm interested in what he's got to say. I'll see you back on here then. Honestly, this was a shock to me. I didn't know this was standard practice, or it became standard practice in our industry. I think when I see people being whiny little bitches on the internet talking about how all regulation is coming, I never really got that. Like, I never really felt like, regulation was coming. But now I understand why they're being whiny little bitches on the internet to a certain degree. If this is the standard practice and whoever's teaching this has just got it deeply ingrained in people's belief systems, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like that, if that's how it works, that's how it works. But the more that stuff like this goes sour, that things get brought to more people's attention, the more people get upset. You can bet that something, somebody's going to go whine and cry to some politician somewhere, and they're going to take up the go try to protect the unprotected. And you're going to see a change in the definition to brokering, just like they did in Illinois. They tried to do some shit in Oklahoma. It just seemed kind of fruitless as well, but you're going to see it. And I don't, it won't affect me overall. I hope it don't affect me. If it does, we'll just become brokers, agents, whatever we need to do to continue in the business. But I don't want to see it go there for the people that do get started, that do have hustle, that can learn it the right way. If you're putting it out there like, hey, there's no need to do this, and you can't stand on it like a rock and say, this is the litigation I know about, this is how it went down, these are the different times this contract has been tested, then I don't know that I will go out there and stand on it in that method and be like, oh yeah, everything will be fine, if you don't know 100%. So we'll leave y'all with that. I'll holler at y'all. Transactional funding has been scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Deuces.